Good afternoon, everyone of you. Welcome to this luncheon session. Foremost, I want to thank Ashley for inviting me to Adli, Caroline, and Presha who will be speaking here. My name is Keshav. I'm in the Master of Finance program. I graduated with my MBA Finance last spring. And this room is kind of a little bit of nostalgia for me. A couple of summers back, I was coming here in the summer to do some Tai Chi classes. It's a little different from the career fair that we're going to attend in a couple of weeks' time, but nonetheless, there's plenty of energy for us to, grab in. So, hopefully, every one of you are doing good in your spring semester. Classes have been going great, and probably some exams coming up too. So, good luck to you on all those things. So, let me initially start off with my brief background. As I said, I'm from the Finance Masters and with an MBA in Finance, and I have a Masters in Computer Science and English Literature too. So I've been working and coming back to school on and off. So it's been like a on-off roller coaster ride in terms of schooling and professional service. So it's been fun all the way. One of the important things for any student as they graduate is to look for a job. Not just after graduation, but during graduation, there are plenty of opportunities right here in this country to kind of build up your professional skills and your resume that could help you in lining up a very, very lucrative and a very, a job that you could really base your career on. So, what I would ask you, all of you, to do is, reflect on yourself personally. What is that you're good at? What skills do you have? Where do you want to land in like 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time? What do you want to see yourself doing? Not just comparing with your peers or colleagues, but you yourself, where you'd have had some dreams during your childhood that I wanted to become so and so, and for some reason maybe you wouldn't have pursued that, but now is a great opportunity for you with so many cross relationships among the jobs that are there. There's no specialized skill that a particular job requires. It requires a multitudinal skill set that requires depth of skills across varied areas. So I would like you all to explore that kind of thinking and that kind of thought process going into your job search. I know Career Fair is coming just 10 days time from now, so it's very important for you. Obviously, you guys would have already started preparing on the resume and taking some mock interviews, getting yourself ready to kind of pitch in your best, when you meet the recruiters. So, I would like to share some of my experiences, the ones that I had in the previous career fairs and some of the interviews that I had. The talk would be more general, and you guys could interrupt me at any point if you want to raise some question or something. So I might have attended like 4 or 5 career fairs in the last couple of years, and when I started off, I was kind of overwhelmed looking at the number of companies that were coming to the career fair, and I thought, okay, there are like 100, 200 companies, so you just go there and probably print out like 30, 40 resumes, and randomly pick a company and talk to them, and probably will land up with some kind of an opportunity. Well, that's one way of doing things, but probably not the right way of doing things. Because what I found was, one, you wouldn't have had a focused search in what you are looking for, the companies that you wanted to work for, and the kind of skill sets those jobs really require. So when you just go randomly and talk to an employer, you're just pitching in the dark. The employers are so experienced enough that they would easily recognize that, oh, you're just coming and throwing a stone here. So never do such kind of a mistake. So what I did in the later career phase kind of refined my search. I went back to the drawing board, looked at the companies that were coming to the career fair, and then zeroed in on like 15, 20 companies that I really am interested in working for, looking at the culture, went through their websites, their past background, the kind of opportunities they would offer, the work culture, ethics, and those kind of stuff. And most importantly, the jobs that they were offered, like in the internships or full-time positions, and the skill sets that were required for each of those jobs. And now I would have a match-up with the skill sets that I had, at that point in time, and then see what's the gap, the differential gap, and whether I could fill that up, or is that an opportunity for me to go there and learn those skills. So once I've learned those, the minimum requirements that that particular job requires of me, I would just make a small piece of paper and then list the companies out there. And then during the career fair, I would know which company to approach. Probably the career fair is from 12 to 6, but you wouldn't have the 6 hours of energy to go in each of those companies. So maybe if you are looking at like 15, 20 companies, you're spending like 3 hours, maybe like 5 minutes with each company. So you would know which company to approach beforehand going there. So you would be ready with what you want to talk. So one of the important things that you're talking with them would be your elevator pitch, your intro pitch, about yourself, which is a very tricky thing. You would have to impress the employer in about a minute and a half. Telling about yourself, branding about yourself, some of the skills that you have, some of the experiences that you had, or some of the educational background that you had. But interweaving each of these things in a way that differentiates you from the other crowd or other colleagues that will be coming and approaching the employer. Because remember, during a career fair, an average booth, an employer would be approached by like 150, 200 candidates. So they would be having a pile of 200 resumes. And you would have talked to them for 5 minutes and you would have thought, okay, I've done really great here, talking about myself. But after the career fair is done, yeah, it's a little tricky there. Yeah, it's something like that. So after the career fair is done, after the pile of 200, how would the employer remember, like, oh, this is the guy that I talked to? It would be extremely difficult. Remember also that a lot of the companies come here to do on-site interviews. So the day after the career fair, they would have Memorial Union is one of the places where they do interviews, and a couple of other places around the campus. So you would want to leave that kind of impression with them that you are something special, that kind of brand that you're bringing to them, the value that you're bringing to them. That can only be possible if you kind of do that catharsis within yourself, the kind of thought process that you put into your own soul searching. What is that I am good at, and what is that I can bring to the organization? What is that I really want? And if you have those identified, you could approach anyone, any employer with that great confidence from your side and really connect with them. So I would say this background work is very important. Your elevator pitch is very important. Obviously your resume and all gets prepared with the help of your career services college, as they were saying. So those things are particularly important. This has been a process for me over a period of a couple of career fairs. It has come to some point where it brought me some good fruition results. So it wouldn't be so easy, starting off in the first 1 or 2 career fairs, but you just have to go through the process and then see the best that you could do. And then looking at the interview process, a lot of companies here do this interviews which are based on behavioral questions, which are more on the reflection of you as a person. They just want to have a sneak peek of you from an outside perspective. So the questions could be like, tell me about yourself. That question is such a general and open-ended question that it really tricks you, but it's the most important question. It's the most difficult question to answer. But if you get that right, most of the times that's your USP. That's your greatest selling point. Probably one of the way I initially answered was when I was naive and I was thinking that okay, maybe I should answer like my name is so and so, I did so and so, I have so and so experience. So that is the general answer that anyone would give. But I think a refined answer and a more suave answer would be, when you've already read the job experience and the skills that they would require and what you could bring to them, so you could start off saying like, let's say you are applying for a financial analyst position or a management analyst position. Now you would have had some experience in the past on that job, or some educational background, reading up some skills, some kind of theory on that subject, and you would have learned from various people about what kind of roles they would bring forth. So you would kind of starting off saying that in the past I have done so and so work in this particular field, I have had so and so results, and quantify them, saying that during my 1 year of work I did this work in such an effective way that it brought about this kind of a change in my organization, it brought about so and so profits, and then I thought that this further education would enhance those skills, and then I came into this program over a period of last couple of semesters. I really upgraded my skills, and these are the skills that I can bring to your job. I know that these are the job requirements, and that is what I can bring to you. So that way you can relate to yourself and tell them that, this is what I am, and this is what I have done, and this is what I can bring to you. So they can relate to you as a person and as a skill set that they can easily connect to. And that's been one of the important transformations that I have seen going through the interview process. And a lot of other questions could be like, tell me about your strongest point, your weakness point. A lot of situations where you had challenges dealing with your team members. When someone critiques your work, how did you really take that feedback, and did you incorporate any of those within your work system, and do you see any changes while going through that process? So a lot of these questions are based on your past experience and your past behavior. The reason why they have this behavioral interview is your past kind of reflects your future behavior. So it's kind of really tricky to kind of trick them, saying up and making up some stories, because over a period of 30 minutes, it's kind of very difficult to come up with some story which you forgot along the line, and then start making up new stories, and you're kind of interviewing yourself, and coming out of that would be extremely difficult. So the best thing would be to try and be honest with yourself, even if you didn't have any experience in that field. Probably relate with some of the education that you've had in the past, and and tell them that you are interested in doing this. This is what you have been looking for, and this is what you want to do. So that enthusiasm from your side will really be helpful. That's like a virus, and it really catches up. So that is good on that front. And a couple of interview experiences I would like to share. As I said, some of them could be very short. Some of them could be like telephonic interviews when you're just talking to employers, and they would say that we'll come back in a couple of days' time. So they would just call in, and then they would do an assessment, just again the behavioral sort of things. And some of them, as I said, after the career fair, you'd have the next day interviews here. A lot of them could be the first round of interviews where, as I said, the HR managers would be doing the behavioral set of question round interviews. And then after a period of a couple of weeks, you would be asked to come to the office premises or the company premises if you are selected to the next round. And there you would be given a brief tour of the the office of the company, and then you would be met up with the team that you would likely to work with, and there you would go through this battery of interviews. So I remember a couple of interviews where I went to this was like the PricewaterhouseCoopers, the Renewable Energy Group, and Nationwide Insurance, where I had 2.5 hours of continuous battery of interviews with 4 to 5 different people, half an hour. So it was like a crunch and a stress interview-based style of interviews where they want to check your uniformity across all the interviewers. You're answering a particular question to the first interviewer in a particular way, and then by the end of third interview, you will be fatigued, and you'll be probably making up some answers and then saying something diametrically opposite. So that is where they will catch you. And then so the best thing again would be to be really honest and try and see where your skills are, where you're good at, and then try and put forth those things before them. And briefly, I would want to touch on some of the internship experience that I had. I worked with a couple of firms. One of the firms which I really liked was this startup firm called Omega Biorenewables. It's in Ames, but it's a startup firm. They do a lot of research on the biorenewables side of things. When I joined them, they didn't have any business side of person who would look into the finances and the administration side of things. So a lot of people were the researchers and the scientists that they were doing in the scientific area of work. So when I came in, my prime responsibility was to, create some processes for them and establish some guidelines. We didn't have an accounting system, we didn't have a financial system, we didn't have a reporting tax system. We didn't have a lot of processes where we could interact with prospective clients. So we had to build a business model. We were doing some business development work. We had to pitch in for clients. We had to pitch in for some funding from venture capitalists, from angel investors, and from funding from various public institutions. So we had to do some cold calling to a lot of people, and then try and understand if we could really market our product. Though we didn't have any product with us, maybe it could be like 5 years down the line. So it was really interesting, going through that business plan. How you would estimate yourself being such a nascent company, just a fledgling company in 1 year of operations, but you would want to be in that successful company 5 years, 10 years down the line. So So you're looking at a broader market, and when you're drawing up the business plan, you're looking at what potential suppliers you could really think of, what competitors you could think of, what are your potential collaborators, where you could get financing from, how could you collaborate with existing companies? Do you really want to do a upfront sale with them, or you want to do a partnership with them? So all the different variety of works, which really got me involved when talking to a lot of industry leads and a lot of people, and with the regular day-to-day work, as I said, about the accounting systems and the tax systems, really helped to get that in-depth knowledge of how a company really works, from a basic startup. That was really interesting, I thought. This summer I'll be interning with Nationwide Insurance in Ohio, Columbus. That would give me probably more broader scope in terms of what I learned through my education and some of the internship experiences going into a bigger company where there are already established processes. So where you wouldn't really have to bother about creating and kind of modifying things, where there are already set in process where you could really fit into a particular role, and you could just ease through that. I really don't want to take much of time. There are other speakers who will be sharing wonderful insights with you. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask me, or you could email Adli or Ashley, and I can respond to them. So it's been a pleasure coming here and sharing a couple of thoughts with you guys. Thanks so much.